Hello, and once again, good evening, YouTube. That's right. It is, in fact, that time of the year again. Welcome. Welcome to the 2023 NASCAR Chase Grid Predictions video. You know, I always sound very exasperated whenever I do these, and that's because usually the seasons are terrible. But you know what? It's been a good year. This is also one of my favorite videos to do every year. So I'm glad that we're back. We're back doing this again. And we're not just doing it in the Cup Series. Oh, you know me better than that by now. We're also doing it in Xfinity, and we're doing it in the Truck Series. But an interesting twist this season. Take it away past Kamikaze. Hello, it is past Kamikaze, and we are trying something a little bit differently this year, because I'm recording this on July 31st, 2023, as you can see down there in the lower right-hand corner of the screen. Yes, that's right. I'm gonna do the predictions for trucks before they actually happen. So this part of the video is already outdated by the time you see the rest. Very good. This'll be horrible. Nick Sanchez. What do we say about Nick Sanchez? Like, honestly. My question is, why is he in this truck? I know that he existed in ARCA last year, and ARCA is a complete joke of a series, and he won that championship. I don't know if that means anything at this point. It really doesn't feel like it does. But then he moved into the Truck Series, and has gone on to win a lot of poles. But that's about it. I don't know why they put him in the fake Rev Racing car instead of, you know, an actual GMS car, or hell, even the Kyle Busch Motorsports number, you know, what, 18? Gibbs isn't using 18 this year. Why can't Busch? That's an iconic number for him at this point. Or even 54, honestly. It was Busch's number before it was Gibbs' number. Anyway, Sanchez exists. I don't care about him at all. Speaking of people I don't care about, Matt Crafton. Also, speaking of ARCA, Taylor Gray. Taylor Gray disappointed the fuck out of me this year. I thought, like, he was, like, the most impressive looking driver in ARCA these past few years. Which I know doesn't mean anything, but he was way more impressive than Nick Sanchez ever was, and Taylor Gray was doing worse this year than he did last year. Like, he could have won IRP last year, and he hasn't even, like, led any laps this season, I don't think. He spent so much time outside of the top 10 in a series with a bunch of nobodies. There is no one good in trucks this year. Trucks has sucked so much. Speaking of sucking, Matt Crafton is doing the opposite of that, kind of-ish. See, the problem for Matt Crafton is that this series is just devoid of talent, so he's able to just coast into the chase every season. Every season, he is just able to do this. And knowing Matt Crafton, he'll probably make the Final Four again, because that's what he does best, is just exist in the Truck Series forever. I guarantee you he'll be around for another 10 years. Zane Smith, the inferior Smith. Showing why he is the inferior Smith this year. He should be eating ass on a weekly basis. But he has, what, 2 wins this season? If even? He won Circuit of the Americas, which was an awful race. And he probably won somewhere else. Daytona, that's right. So it's a bunch of nothing races at the start of the season when no one's even got their feet underneath them yet. He's coming off of being the defending champion, thanks to a fucking dumb bitch we will get to in a few minutes. He's just, I've been saying that he should have been the one to get the 4. But after this season, I know why they didn't give him the 4, even though he's got more wins this year than the guy going into the 4. But, I mean, I thought Zane Smith was ready for Cup already, supposedly, according to Front Row Motorsports, who needed to kick Todd Gilliland out of their car for a while. Meanwhile, Gilliland's having the best season that, like, the second Front Row Motorsports car has ever had. Fucking Michael McDowell sitting in the chase right now. By the time I record that might be a bit of an outdated statement. But I doubt it, because Ty Gibbs is incapable of running better than 15th for some reason. Anyway, Zane Smith exists, unfortunately. Then you got Carson Hocevar. What is there to say about Carson Hocevar that hasn't been said already? We've known since the moment he broke onto the scene that he's had potential to be one of the best drivers in the series. He was a USAC legend by age 17, but then he stumbled his way into the truck series, and yes, he's at Nice Motorsports, but let's be honest, there's always been one Nice Motorsports truck that's head and shoulders above the rest, that is without a doubt just a GMS truck painted with a different color, with a different brush. We all know that Carson Hocevar is in top level equipment. He's just managed to fumble the bag harder than pretty much anyone else in Truck Series history. I mean, barring Nick Sanchez at this point. It's wild. He has the ladder that he's been on is the most anime protagonist style shit that you've ever seen. I talked about it in the previous, in 2022's chase video. He is the anime protagonist to end all anime protagonists. Basically, he's been struggling to break through from the beginning, and now he's sitting here as the chase begins with 3 wins, and I think he might have suddenly just became the championship favorite overnight. I think he could win in any track coming up. I think that the Hocevar's season is in full swing. He's just got to learn how to not fumble the bag. I think Richmond was a big moment of growth for him. Nashville was an easy win. Texas was garbage in every sense of the word. It was just a bad race with a bad finish. It just encapsulated the full spirit of Texas Motor Speedway. It's basically what I'm trying to say. I think Carson Hocevar turned a corner at Richmond, if you could mind the pun. And I think he might have just moved into the championship favorite territory. I know the series is fickle, and by the time this is uploaded, he can be 40 points out of the chase with only hoping for a win at Kansas to move on. I know! That's why recording this now is a mistake! But we're going for it. Now, Christian Eckes. He also has 2 wins this season, neither of which I watched. Every truck race that I've watched 0 laps of this season, Christian Eckes won the race. So if I just did not watch any of these races, Christian Eckes would win 7 in a row and a championship. It's an interesting theory. Unfortunately, I'm sure I'm going to have nothing better to do on a Saturday night, at least once within the next, 7 of these races. So, sorry, Christian. But yeah, any race that I watched, though, with Christian Eckes, he's got one of the best trucks, and yet he manages to completely fumble it. He's basically Carson Hocevar 2022, without all the laps left. He's so close to breaking out. That Bill McAnally team that abandoned the sinking ship of the Menards ARCA Series West, which is just a fucking, just a shell of its former self, but all of ARCA is a shell of its former self. I mean, it's not even ARCA. It used to be, fucking Hooters West or Bush North or something. I don't know. Christian Eckes is good, apparently. He spent a lot of time in top equipment, and he had to go to, a middling team, but now he's the lead driver of the middling team, so he's getting more focus than he's ever gotten. I mean, he was in the lead KBM truck for a season and spent the entire year just not winning. Doing everything in his power to not win. And it's interesting, the ladder that Christian Eckes has been on. I wish I could say that he would win a couple of these races coming up, but I just don't think that he's got the speed lately. He was good early this season, but he's kind of regressed. The team as a whole has kind of regressed. I mean, his teammate Jake Garcia has had better runs than him lately. Like, that says everything. And, who the fuck is Jake Garcia? Did he run any ARCA? I don't remember it. If he did. Anyway, here's this cunt who ruined the fucking... I keep saying it, and I will say it till I die. He ruined the championship last season. It should have been the Smith versus Smith show. 10 to go restart straight up between the 38 truck and the 18 truck. Whoever's the best gets to fucking do it. And Rhodes' stupid cunt ass decided to just fuck it all up, take 2 tires on the final pit stop, and just exist at the front of the field. Get in the way of what should have been a fantastic battle to close out the championship, something to rival Daniel Hemrick's championship final battle. Because you got Chandler, who absolutely dominated Phoenix, and he just could not qualify to save his life last season. He finally got the truck on 4 fresh tires, up in clean air, and what happens? This fucking dumb cunt, who deserves absolutely no kudos for anything, for being walking mediocrity, for being worse than Timothy Peters. At least Timothy Peters was able to fucking, you know, be competitive in more than 1 fucking race per season. This has been the worst season of Rhodes' fucking career that should have ended after the first season because of how fucking awful it was in top fucking equipment. Man, he couldn't do jack goddamn fucking shit in and finished behind Riku Abreu in points, who was only allowed to have 1 season before fucking off to all eternity. But no, this guy, oh no, he gets to stick around and be mediocre for his entire life and stumble ass first into a bunch of fucking wins that he doesn't fucking deserve, and everyone pretends like he's accomplished something. Fucking goddamn cunt bag. God, I fucking hate that bitch. Speaking of people that I hate, Grant Enfinger is not one of them. At this point, Grant Enfinger is probably my favorite Truck Series driver, but that's not a very, you know, amazing statement, because I like maybe 3 drivers in the Truck Series. Grant's been slow this year. He's won twice at Gateway and somewhere else I don't remember nor care enough to look back on and find out where. He's just not got the juice this year. I really like Grant. I wish he'd win a fucking championship, but he won't, because people who are good do not get anything in the Truck Series, especially this year. That's some good clear American sweetened strawberry flavored sparkling water beverage with other natural flavors. I like Grant Enfinger. He won IRP last year. I hope he does it again, but I doubt it. Then you got Ty Majeski. Ty Majeski, who's been a bit of a lethal force this season. He's been the best ThorSport truck driver, which isn't saying much when your competition is Matt Crafton and Haley Deegan. He's been head and shoulders better than Rhodes all year. He's led way more laps and been in contention for way more wins, that's for sure. He fumbled the bag hard at Richmond. There's no other way of saying it. There is absolutely no excuse for him to not have won Richmond, but you know how it goes. Yeah, there's a bunch of great tracks for him coming up. He should have won Gateway. He should have won many times. IRP he should win. Milwaukee he should be fast at. Kansas he could be good at. Homestead's in the next round. He won there last season. There's no excuse for Ty Majeski to not have at least 4 wins this season, is what I'm trying to say. And at the same time, it feels like he probably won't win any other race this season, because Ty Majeski is just bound and determined to never make it out of the Truck Series. He's like fucking 29, isn't he? How many fucking late model wins does this motherfucker have? And he's still sitting here fumbling easy truck wins. Can we get Ty Majeski in an Xfinity car? I feel like his talents are more suited to an Xfinity car. Why has he been in trucks this whole time? Like, fuck, dude. And then you got Matt DiBenedetto, the man, the myth, the legend, the winner at Talladega last year. Except he should not have won at Talladega last year. Oh my. Boy, he exists. He is doing okay. He is doing okay on a Rackley team that was never good, that was never on the level of GMS. They've turned a corner this season. Matt's drugged them into the top 10 on more than one occasion. He's had a bunch of really bad races this season, but then he has races like North Wilkesboro, where he would have won if it weren't for a fucking leech in that race. That should not have been allowed to have leeches in it, much like the Chicago Street Course. That was a really good idea by NASCAR. It's unfortunate that the Chicago Street Course was awful. It's a shame. It's a shame that it turned out the way that it did, because there were no fucking leeches in that Xfinity race. And then it was awful. And the shortest race in NASCAR history by length. What a travesty that was. But this is not about that. This is about Matt DiBenedetto, who's actually okay. He's on a top 10 streak that was broken in Richmond because he's a slow bitch, I guess. Man, can I just mention this before I forget? Matt Mills. When I saw that he was announced into the KBM 51, I was like, top 10 minimum. If you do not finish in the top 10, fuck off. Retire. And that man had a horrible start and dropped back to like 15th, and I was like, wow, what a shock. Matt Mills sucks. But he fought tooth and nail at a track in a series that's impossible to pass on. He fought back and drove it into 5th. I can't even be mad, dude. I fucking can't stand Matt Mills. He's like, on the level of Joe Graff as far as awfulness is concerned. But you know what? Maybe not anymore. Maybe not anymore. He wasn't even on my radar for worst drivers in NASCAR, though. Even though he absolutely deserved to be on that list back in 2019. He would have, without a doubt, been on the list if it was made this year. But now? Fuck, dude. Matt Mills one-offing every season in a KBM truck? Just get a top 5 here and there? That wouldn't even be the worst thing ever. Anyway, Matt DiBenedetto will not make the Final Four. Corey Heim. I fucking cannot stand Corey Heim. He's the most boring motherfucker that I've ever seen. You want to talk about how Byron's a boring winner? You want to talk about how Chase Elliott has no personality? Look no further than Corey fucking Heim. Toyota development driver number 679. They make these people in a fucking factory, I swear to God. He just existed in ARCA, getting his ass whipped by Ty Gibbs every fucking week. Every quote-unquote win that he got last season was at the expense of Chandler, thanks to John Hunter Nemechek and a terrible gateway race that should have been won by Christian Eckes, if I remember correctly. Yeah. No, I fucking cannot stand Corey Heim. When he was out of the truck for a race that was the best race of the season, Jesse Love got into this truck and basically held on to it with 30-lap-old tires in the top 5. I remember that. But if you wonder why Corey Heim is so fucking amazing all of a sudden, his crew chief is Scott Zipadelli. Alright? That is Brett Moffitt's champion crew chief. If you want to know why Corey Heim is suddenly relevant every week. That's the reason, ladies and gentlemen. And there you have it. We're only 17 minutes into this recording, and I finally summarized the grand total of 10 Truck Series chase drivers. We've still got to do this for 2 other series. This video will be long. So we've got IRP, Milwaukee, and Kansas. We've got IRP, which is a fantastic track, but this is the Truck Series where nothing good happens, so I'm sure it will be a boring race. Then you got Milwaukee, which we are returning to after a, 15-year hiatus? I remember watching a Milwaukee race, I don't know if it was Busch or a Truck Series, back in 2007 at my grandma's house on a channel that we only ever got when there was sports on. It was very interesting. Or maybe that's a false memory. All I know is I watched a Milwaukee race at my grandma's house. I don't even know what series it was or who won. So, Maybe it was the fucking Eric Almirola win. We'll never know. Kansas. Terrible track. Oh, nothing good ever happens at Kansas. But what's going to happen at Kansas in 2023 in the Truck Series, you may be asking? 19 minutes into the video, let's fucking discuss winners. At IRP, I have Ty Majeski winning. This is probably a bad call, considering he sold so hard at Richmond, but by all metrics, he's the best driver at short tracks and should easily win IRP. Will he? I doubt it. I've given Milwaukee to Heim because I'm assuming it's going to be the most boring race ever run in Truck Series history, and it's at a track where equipment is all that matters, because it's basically New Hampshire, but even flatter. So yeah, it's basically a New Hampshire race, which means the best truck is going to win, and that best truck in the series is Corey Heim. I gave Kansas to Zane Smith. Honestly, Zane Smith has been so irrelevant the second half of the season. He's just been trash. I don't even know if Zane Smith's gonna win this race. Fuck me, dude. I don't even know. Maybe Grant Enfinger will win and save us all, and give us a Grant Enfinger win. But regardless of who wins the Kansas race, this is still the ones that I have moving on. I have Sanchez missing because he's just not been that guy this season. The pressure's going to get to him. He's going to get a bunch of poles and probably get no stage points. I also have Eckes not moving on because, you know, he's just got so much unrealized skill, and the trucks at Bill McAnally Racing are just not there yet. I mean, the trucks are there, but he just can't seem to have long run speed. And sure, with stage points in the Truck Series, where the stages are shorter than they have absolutely any right to be, there should not be fucking stages in trucks. With the way that Eckes qualifies, he could probably get a bunch of stage points every week. But, you know, I don't think it's going to happen. I've got Sanchez and Eckes not moving on. Alright, time for the actual round that matters. You got Bristol, which is sometimes the best race of the Truck Series season, sometimes the worst Bristol race you've ever seen. Then you've got Talladega, which has never been won by a chase driver in the history of the Truck Series chase. And then you've got Homestead, which is the cutoff race for the Truck Series again this season for the final race. Who's going to win these events? Ladies and gentlemen, here's your answer. I have a very interesting set of results. I have Majeski winning Bristol because, duh. And I have Matt Crafton winning Talladega. Let me tell you something. Matt Crafton will win a race this season, but he is so trash everywhere. He was good at Richmond. He was a minute away from taking second place at Richmond off a restart. Until fucking bitch-ass Heim got in the way and decided, oh, I'm just gonna give Rhodes a free position. Oh, I've not even passed Crafton. Oh, we're all falling back now. Oh, we're both outside the top 5 and Rhodes is leading. Oh, wow, what a great move by me. That's Corey Heim talking. I can't fucking stand Corey Heim. He looks like a fucking, you know, those rich kids in school that go on to be fucking fraternity kids, you know? Basically what I'm trying to say is that I would not leave my daughter alone in a room with Corey Heim for more than an hour. That's basically all I'm trying to say on that one. That's as far as I'm gonna go. That's as far as I'm gonna go right there. But Matt Crafton has been just existing for so long, and that existence walked him to a championship in the Truck Series in 2019. He just existed all year, and that was good enough for the championship. But I think Talladega, there's a whole lot of drivers who have like little experience to speak of at Talladega this season going into this race. And the trucks race at Talladega has been won by a driver that has not made the chase every year that the chase has existed in the truck series. But this year should be absolutely no different. I only have Crafton moving on in the chase because, you know, that's what he does best, is just get points. And just be relevant, just relevant enough to be the 9th driver in a 10-car chase. But I think for probably what will be his final career win, I'm going to give Matt Crafton Talladega. I think the cycle is broken. Matt Crafton returns to victory lane and the Final Four at Talladega. Also, I said he'd win in the predictions video this earlier in February, so I want that prediction to be correct. And then I have Kosovar winning Homestead. Kosovar and Homestead. Because I don't remember where else he won. He won in Nashville, which was an absolute nothing race. And he won Texas, which was awful. So, it's a bit of a unique track. It's a bit of a unique place. I'm surprised Bwbuske won here last year. That was not where I expected him to win. I expected him to do way better at Phoenix, too, for that matter. But I've got Kosovar winning Homestead because that feels like a place where he would excel. Kind of a place that's unique on the schedule. And would kind of help him out as far as, you know, his USAC origins. Because Larson's good there, you know. It's kind of a place where dirt drivers are good at for some reason. And Kosovar is a noted dirt driver. Yeah, whatever. Speaking of dirt, they didn't go to the fucking Knoxville this year. Good. Thank fucking God for that. Thank fucking God for that. What a shitbag track that was. What an awful race that was every single season. Horrendous. I'm glad they did not go to Knoxville. Anyway. Who's going to win the championship? So here's your final four. Oh, I have Heim moving on because everything sucks. I have Zane Smith missing because he's just not been that guy this year. I mean, he's probably going to make the final four again because nothing can ever be good. And he can be fucking irrelevant the entire fucking race and take 2 tires at the end again and make everything shitty. Because that's what he does best. That's what he fucking does best, is just make everything shitty. Grant Enfinger won't move on because it's not been his season. I mean, I would like Matt DiBenedetto to move on. He's good at Bristol. He's won at Talladega, and I mean, Homestead is in fact a racetrack, but I don't think he's gonna. And yeah. So this Final Four, let's think about it honestly. Matt Crafton will not win the championship. Carson Hocevar. This has been the anime protagonist story to end all anime protagonist stories. And speaking of anime protagonists, him coming in at the final hour, probably outside of the Final Four, coming in to just grab the dub at Homestead would be that would be exactly what Carson Hocevar would do this season. Actually, it's exactly what Corey Heim would do this season. So, I hate my life, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Hocevar, when Zane Smith has not been the guy, you know, Zane Smith transferred the powers, he transferred the bag to Carson Hocevar. And Hocevar did in fact become that guy this season. And a bunch of races that absolutely should have played out differently had this been any other season. You know, if it had been last year, he would have led 100 fucking laps at Texas and gotten dumped on the last lap to lose. If it had been last year, there would have been a late caution at Nashville, and he would have lost. If it was last year, it would have been him trying the balls-to-the-wall pit strategy and then getting passed with 5 to go. That is literally what happened at a track. I don't remember which track, but I do remember Hocevar lost on pit strategy last year somewhere. But I don't care enough to look up where it was. Carson Hocevar, this has been his season. As much as it's been a year of the coronation of Corey Heim, as insufferable as it's been, Hocevar is low-key. And the fact that it's been low-key. The fact that I keep forgetting that Hocevar is even in the series and I never put him in my DraftKings, and then he goes up and leads a bunch of laps and I don't win money in DraftKings. When Hocevar was right there and I pick someone else who wrecks on fucking lap 2. And I'm immediately losing money on DraftKings. You know? Hocevar's been that guy. And I don't know, they're talking about moving him up to the Cup Series, which, motherfucker, what? He's good, but he's not Cup good. He's made a couple of Xfinity starts in the Spire 77, which I don't even know if that's a JRM car or a Hendrick car, or if it's a fucking Spire car. I don't even know the origins of this fucking car, and he's been kicking ass in that. I want to see Hocevar in Xfinity car next year. Mostly because I want the maximum number of Xfinity drivers that are good to be in the Xfinity series. And Hocevar's pissed me off in the past because he's never been able to realize, you know, his actual full potential. He's never been able to, you know, not be a fucking dumb bitch driving. Every single week, if there's a wreck, it's probably caused by him. And he just fucking drives haphazardly around the track every single week. But now he's finally starting to realize the full potential that he has. And it should propel him into a chance at the championship. Is he going to get it? He's got to go through TyMajeski, who I honestly thought, just off the sheer consistency that he's shown this season alone, I thought that Majeski was going to be the one who's untouchable when it comes to this championship. It's going to be Majeski, or you have to go through him to get it. But then Richmond happened. And you see, the curious thing about Richmond is that everyone compares Richmond to Phoenix. Everyone compares Richmond to Phoenix. But for some reason, drivers that do really good at Richmond really suck at Phoenix. It's weird. You see, Truex has a bunch of wins and races he should have won at Richmond. But it wasn't until fucking, 2020 that he was even relevant for the first time at Phoenix? And Ryan Blaney. Ryan Blaney's really good at Phoenix. But he's never been relevant even once at Richmond. Every time Ryan Blaney goes into Richmond, it's just 20th place after 20th place. But Blaney is consistently one of the guys who's challenging for wins at Phoenix. I think Phoenix is bigger and flatter. And Richmond has way, way older track surface. The two tracks are way different. But everyone goes like, oh, he ran well at Richmond, so he's probably going to run well at Phoenix. No, motherfucker. No, motherfucker. Richmond is not at all an indication of Phoenix. So, that being said, for TyMajeski, I think that he's the guy in the scenario that we've got laid out here who went into Phoenix last year, got his ass just fucking punted into shape. I think he is going to take the lessons that he learned from Phoenix last season and translate it into the speed that he's shown all season long in the ThorSport camp. Because Majeski's been good everywhere. He's been a go-to guy in DraftKings. And then he keeps wrecking, like Milwaukee, for example. I thought he had that race on lockdown. And he kind of did. And then he wrecked the field. Or, Gateway, sorry. Majeski is really good this year. But is he at the level of Hocevar? I think Majeski has shown way more consistent pace than Hocevar has. I think Majeski deserves at least 2 wins at some point this season going into the chase. It's unfortunate. And I think everyone's going to define him by his loss at Richmond. I hope that it doesn't get him down. I hope that he realizes that, hey, he had the best truck at Richmond. He should not have lost that race. They just need to translate that speed into a good car, truck for IRP, a good truck for Bristol, and hopefully he can win Bristol, and his crew chief can focus on Phoenix and preparing a truck for that race. And then there's Heim, who will probably win the championship because everything sucks. Out of these 4 drivers, who have I got winning the championship? It's tough. Crafton's not. Out of these 3 drivers, who have I got winning the championship? Well, I mean, out of these 3, they've definitely got the potential for putting on the best show. Majeski's probably the best driver out of all of them. Heim is probably got the best vehicle of them all, and without a doubt the best crew chief in the series now that Fugel's moved on. Scott Zipadelli has firmly taken that spot as best crew chief in the truck series. But then you have Carson Hocevar, whose absolute anime protagonist arc cannot be mistaken. And for that reason, I don't think he's winning the championship. I've got Ty Majeski going into Phoenix, learning from his mistakes from last season, utilizing the raw pace that he's had in his truck all season long, and hopefully, he's been qualifying great all season. Hopefully he'll keep the truck out front all day. His only competition, I think, is going to be Heim. And Hocevar needs to, I don't know if the pressure's going to get to Hocevar. He's been a lot better this season than he was in the past when it comes to pressure. But I don't know if he's going to fall back into bad habits. Regardless of everything that I've said thus far, Ty Majeski has experience in the championship 4. He was in it last year, and he knows what mistakes to not make this season. And I don't think he was even that bad last season. He looked like a real dumbass at the end of the race. But, I would hope that this year, I think Majeski is way better this year than he was last year. That's pretty much all I have to say on that point. Like he's fully turned the corner at this point. And I think Majeski has developed into a very strong contender. But the problem is that I don't think he's suited to trucks. His skill set would work so much better in Xfinity. So, who knows? I'd like to see him in the 98 in the Xfinity Series next year. But that will never happen. Anyway, that's it for this part of the video. I'm sorry this took a half hour. But yeah, we've still got 2 other series to go. Lord have fucking mercy. See you in a minute. And thank you very much, Past Kamikaze, for that very good assessment of everything. As you can see, this is my chase grid for that. I called Majeski, but I think everyone did. And this is going up the same day as Milwaukee, and something tells me I'm going to be right about that one as well. Anyway, moving on to Xfinity. Yeah, what was that about retiring? What was that about retiring from the Xfinity Series, Kyle? Yeah, remember when everyone fucking told me on Twitter, oh, he's done. Motherfuckers, yeah. Literally 1 year is all it took. Give me a fucking break. Chandler Smith is awesome. I adore this man. He just finished 15th, I think, at Daytona in the Cup Series. Unfortunately, this season has not been nearly as good as I was hoping for. I think Call League has taken a step back as far as their program is concerned. They're kind of just, struggling massively. The whole team is. Even the 10 car, which was winning races earlier this season, now, AJ can't do anything with it, even at road courses. That's brutal stuff. And Chandler started off the year very strong. He should have won Vegas. He did win Richmond. He should have won Nashville. But he's just been not relevant at all lately. He's got some good tracks coming up. Bristol, namely. About the only good track that he has coming up, if I'm honest. But maybe he'll win that. But I doubt that he's going to do much. And then he'll probably have a race-winning car at Phoenix, but not be in the Final Four. And then you have the man, the myth, the legend, Justin fucking Allgaier. The one man that you can never rely on. The one man that you should never rely on. And this man just finally, oh my god, finally, he won in a fucking plate race. Oh man. That's completely reinvigorated I should not have any faith in Justin Allgaier after the season that he's had, because every single road course he's had a car to win, and he's gotten fucked over, be it by his own fault or just stupid shit. He's just thrown so many races away this year, but that's just fucking Justin Allgaier's MO. But now he won Daytona, and now I've got like a new sense of faith that I should not have. You should never try to rest your laurels on Justin Allgaier, but I might. Anyway, then you got Josh Berry. The antithesis of Justin Allgaier. Because dude hasn't been relevant Josh Berry's been relevant once this season at Pocono. Absolutely blew that fucking race. And he's just getting to replace all of the injured drivers in the Cup Series. Bro's probably going to the 41 for the rest of the fucking chase after the events at Daytona tonight. Yeah. And then, meanwhile, he's done fuck all in Xfinity. He's been completely and utterly irrelevant. But, you know, he's the one junior motorsports car that hasn't won this season. Allgaier, Mayer have both won twice, you know, and that just kind of summarizes his career. He's just always existed. And the only times that he's ever won has been because of garbage reasons. So, yeah, can't wait for him to do absolutely nothing in the 4 car. Then you got Sam Mayer, who I've gotta say, everyone was doubting this man at the halfway point of this season. I was doubting him near the end of last year. Sam, I've always, well, ever since he's made it to Xfinity, I've liked. I could not fucking stand him in the Truck Series or ARCA for that matter. But then he moved into Xfinity, and I was like, okay, I had to make a compromise. I had to make a fucking compromise, because there were no good drivers in Xfinity when Sam got there. And I'm like, man, if someone is gonna come into the series that I slightly hate, compared to basically everyone else in the series that I fucking despise, man, we just gotta we have to pick our battles. And I had to pick my battle with Sam Mayer. So I decided to like Sam Mayer instead of dislike him. And everyone was doubting him, but he's really coming to his own these past couple of races. He's been killing it. And I don't mean killing it as in destroying the field or himself. No, he's been doing good. Should not have won Road America, but Watkins Glen was just so funny. I just couldn't help but enjoy that. Bro should not have had enough gas. Like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? How did he win that race? I don't even know. Literal hand of God victory on that one. But I like Sam now, and he will probably do decent in the chase. And then you have Sheldon Creed, who I am just over at this point. I've really never liked Sheldon Creed, if I'm honest. All the way back to when he first debuted in JD Motorsports. I'm like, who is this? Why is he here? Why is he taking away starts from, like, anyone else? You know? And then he just was, you know, barely relevant enough in the Truck Series, and then kept getting garbage wins at the expense of Moffitt, who can hopefully win. There's still 2 races. Never even mentioned this yet. There's still 2 races until the chase starts. We'll get into that soon enough. We'll get into why that matters soon enough here. I'm just hoping that Moffitt just randomly wins Darlington, just fucking dabs on the entire sport. That'd be funny. Anyway. I don't care for Creed. Him losing all the time is funny. I hope that continues, but I'm sure he'll probably, you know, get a fuel mileage win or a rain shorten win at one of these races coming up. It'll be boring, and everyone on the Geo illegal streams, or strims, I should say. Everyone in the chat and go on there is gonna fucking come. That'll be a sad day indeed. And then you have Cole Custer, Wow, what a year for Cole Custer. He basically made the headlines all about him at the start of the season, and then he proceeded to do just terrible for like the first 5 races. Bro was out of the chase. He was doing so bad, and then, you know, everything changed, you know, the second that, you know, the season actually got in full swing. He was leading races, getting points, and now he's like 2 full races ahead of Herbst, you know, just where he should be. Where he should be relative to that waste of fucking space. Custer has just kind of existed. I mean, I always thought that his, 7-win season was a bit of a fluke. I remember saying in the Richmond review for whatever year it was that, oh, Custer's got this win, but I don't think it's gonna fucking be a opening of the floodgates and he's gonna get 6 wins. And then he went on to get 6 wins and a, you know, DQ victory at Darlington, I think. You know, yeah, it's just, it's whatever. Custer is performing, I think, where he should be. I'd say there's a good chance he makes the Final 4, but you know how it goes. And then there's fucking Jeb Burton. Like, why are you here? Why are you fucking on this list? Because Talladega was awful, that's why. Yeah, Talladega was set up to be an amazing finish, and then Creed wrecked the field like he always does at plate races. Fucking useless piece of shit. God, I fucking can't stand Creed. But yeah, Jeb Burton got another fucking win. It's a pile of shit. I'm so sick of him existing in this goddamn sport. Jeb Burton flunked out of how many cars? He flunked out of more cars than Daniel Hemrick. Flunked out of more cars than, you know, I don't know. Hemrick's the best fucking example. Ryan Truex, there's another guy that won this year. How the hell did that happen? And flunked out of a lot of cars. Yeah, just, I don't know. It's just terrible plate races. I don't know, man. There's no reason that Brandon Brown should have less wins than Jeb Burton. That is cursed. Anyway, Jeb Burton will do nothing in the chase. Then you have Austin Hill. Speaking of guys that come into their own, yeah, when Creed is just fucking around barely making the chase, Austin Hill is out here destroying the field. Dude re-signed with RCR. Happy to just exist in the Xfinity Series for another season. I look for him to maybe get 10 wins next season, depending on who's moving into Xfinity, because there's like no one. There's like no one in this series. Oh my god, it's just devoid of any drivers. It's amazing. Austin Hill is so good. He uses the sheer power of his fucking girth. Fatty. He's just so rotund. He's just absolutely massive. I cannot believe it. It's the fucking size. His weight gives him more downforce. That's why he's so good at these plate tracks. Then you need the extra downforce to be able to make these passes. It's just, I don't know, man. Austin Hill is just the funniest story on the entire grid. If he just went like, you know, did like a 15 race season for Beard next year, just an RCR supported 62 car, and he just probably wins Atlanta in that thing. I don't know, man. I don't know. Watching Austin Hill just turn into a legend is the funniest shit ever. And Corbin Forrester was faster than him at Chicago in 2018. So basically what I'm saying is that this could be Corbin. Pain. Then you have Daniel Hemrick. I mean, he sure exists. Yeah, Hemrick's just been doing the, you know, average Hemrick season. The move to colleague was just not good. Not a good one for Daniel Hemrick. He's just kind of existed for the past 2 years, and he will continue to do so. Will he point his way into the Final 4? Probably not, because he has no bonus points going into the chase. So, yeah. Then there's Sammy Smith, who's completely flatlined after his total fluke win at Phoenix. That was another race that Chandler should have won, the superior Smith. Yeah, that total fluke win could have been Ryan Truex's too, you know. But, like I said, total fluke win. He's completely flatlined lately. He's behind Parker Kligerman as far as season points are concerned. I checked that. I mean, come on. Next in line to pass him is Jeb Burton, and we already mentioned that he is just literally exists for Jordan Anderson Racing. Jordan Anderson Racing! Faster than Sammy Smith. Yeah, a total fraud. Sammy Smith has always been a fraudulent driver, and it's been proven this season. I'm sure he will go to Junior Motorsports next year and do nothing in that car too. Yeah. Then you got a driver who's actually good, John Nemechek. He has been, you know, doing his thing, and just his John Nemechek self. Everyone expected him to be probably the guy to beat this season, and he got, what, 5 wins going into the chase? I think that's the most out of anyone this season. I think Hill only has 4, maybe 3, I don't know. But Nemechek has a lot of wins. He's going into a bunch of tracks. He has a win at Texas. He has a win at Martinsville. There's 2 races right there. He's basically a lock for the Final Four if you include bonus points. That's basically over. And then the final spot, currently taken by Parker Kligerman, the actual legend. Oh my goodness gracious, he has a 20-point lead going into these last 2 races. But the problem is that he's going into races that are just not good for the team. He's going into Darlington and Kansas. Darlington is a driver's track, but you need the car underneath you to be able to get track position and qualify well, you know. It's all about track position at Darlington. It's just, and if you don't get it in qualifying, you're so fucked. And then the stages are so short. If he doesn't get any stage points, that's just points that he's losing to the cut line. No matter how good he can run, no matter if he can just eke out a 10th place, he's still gonna lose all these points because everyone else just exists in the top 10 when they qualify well. And it's just, ugh. I hope Kligerman makes the chase. Not only because it would mean a prediction that I made at the start of the season would be correct, but it would also mean that useless-ass Riley Herbst would miss the fucking chase after everyone was jacking him off for having a couple of good races at the start of the season. As if that meant fucking goddamn anything. Oh, and you want to know the 3 Junior Motorsports cars? It's interesting. There appears to be a name missing from here. Reddit. There appears to be a name missing from here. Interesting. Very, very interesting. So, Xfinity Chase still doesn't start for 2 races. I hope Kligerman makes it, but even if he doesn't, I still think this shit's gonna go the same way. Who's gonna win and move on from the first 3 races at Bristol, Texas, and the Charlotte Puke Bowl? I don't know. I tried to come up with something on the fly and failed. Anyway, I have Sam Mayer winning Bristol, John Nemechek winning Texas, and Cole Custer winning at Charlotte. Sam Mayer he's got a bunch of wins on road courses this season, but he is low-key one of the best short track drivers in the series. I think that him finally getting over the hump of getting that first win, first 2 wins for that matter, I think that hump getting finally, you know, crossed over is going to give him the confidence that he needs to drive into Bristol and just basically slay. He already has a win at this track in the Truck Series. That was a terrible race, and I hated it, but it sets up very nice for this year. Then you have John Nemechek winning Texas. Fuck Texas, it's garbage. I'm giving it to Nemechek because, yeah. And Cole Custer gets the Roval. I was originally going to say Allgaier, and then I came to my senses. Custer is not, by, you know, any stretch of the imagination, a, like, road course ringer. If anything, Sam has the momentum, but I think he's going to win Bristol, and I doubt that he's going to win 2 races in the same round. So that's why I'm going to give the Roval to Custer. Plus, the team has had success here in the past. Briscoe won in a SHR prepped Biaggi 98 at the Roval. So I'm assuming that that pace is going to translate. I have Allgaier moving on because it's the first fucking round. You know what? It's better to just say who I don't have moving on. I have Sammy Smith failing to move on because he is a fraud. And he's just been absolutely goddamn irrelevant all year, ever since his fluke win. Yeah, basically. I have Creed not moving on. I mean, the momentum's in his favor, but he's just not been relevant at these kinds of tracks. I mean, Roval, he'll probably give Custer a run for his money there. But what I'm guessing is going to happen, he's going to go for the win, fucking spin, self-spin, and then just, you know. I also have Hemrick not moving on because, I mean, these really don't look like the tracks that Hemrick would excel at. He used to be a good road course driver, now he really isn't. I mean, Colleague isn't good enough to win at Texas. And then Bristol, probably his best shot. Oh, everything's off kilter. God fucking damn it. Come on, stop being off kilter. Okay, that kind of works. Yeah, Bristol's probably the best track that he'd have, but he's not going to win Bristol, so that means that he is not going to succeed. Yeah! So there you have it. Everyone's... Oh. I had Herps before I put Kligerman in. Wait. Wait, hold on. Okay, Jeb Burton's not moving on because of course he isn't. Hemrick isn't moving on. Okay, well I guess I had Herps moving on, but if Kligerman makes it, you know, he could do good at... Okay, let's just logic this out. I don't think Kligerman will do great at Bristol. Big Machine has a bullshit win at Texas, so maybe Kligerman can do good there. And then the Roval exists. Kligerman's kind of good at road courses. But, I mean, him versus Creed. If it came down to Creed versus Kligerman, Kligerman definitely has the momentum. I'm going to put Kligerman in as the dude. That is my official prediction. This video sucks. Vegas, Homestead, Martinsville. An actual half-decent round. Pretty good stuff. This is a good lineup of tracks. Who's going to succeed here, you may be asking? Well, let's find out together. Alright, the Final Four in Xfinity for 2023. I've got Chandler getting his redemption at Vegas. He should have fucking won that race. He's gonna get redemption. He's going to win Las Vegas. Mark it down on your calendars. Chandler Smith goes to victory lane and goes to the Final fucking Four in Xfinity. I think I made that prediction at the start of the season. Homestead, I have going to Austin Hill. He has not done much at 1.5 mile tracks. That's the problem for Austin Hill. And another interesting factoid about Austin Hill is I don't believe he's ever made the Final Four in any series that he's ever been in. So this would be a first for Austin Hill. I have him winning Homestead mostly because I didn't want to have Nemechek winning back-to-back, because I have Nemechek as basically a lock at Martinsville unless the field decides to fuck itself. But there's not a whole lot of dumbasses in Xfinity this season, so I don't think we have to worry about that. I guess it depends on who they put in the 19 for those races. Yeah. Yes, Nemechek winning Martinsville. Austin Hill needs to break through and succeed. I mean, dude, he won Homestead the year that Crafton got no wins for his championship, I'm pretty sure. So, yeah. He'll use lessons learned from then and just use his fucking body weight to just throw it into, you know, victory lane at Homestead. And I have Allgaier moving on. I have Allgaier moving on to the Final Four. Imagine that. I bet you didn't see that one coming. Yeah, I mean, he's good at Vegas, he's terrible at Homestead, and he's pretty mid at Martinsville. But I think he has he is closing in on Austin Hill for the 15 bonus points. Like, even if he finishes second in the, you know, the standings before the chase reset, that's still 10 bonus points. Like, that's a lot of bonus points. And there's not a whole lot of bonus points being handed out to the rest of this field. He's got, like, fucking 15 stage wins this year, too, for that matter. Like, he's got a bunch of bonus points. He looked like a lock in 2018, and we all know how that turned out! But, yeah. So, I don't have Mayer moving on. This has been a breakout year for him. I could very well see him. Probably he would have a good shot at winning Martinsville, that's for sure. But Nemechek's just got him on lockdown, dude. I mean, there's no way that he doesn't win that race unless some shenanigans take place. Like, JGR is just locked and loaded at Martinsville at this point. I mean, even fucking Sammy goddamn Smith. Even he ran second at Martinsville earlier this season. Like, god fucking damn. Anyone can do good in a Gibbs car. We all know that. We all know that. I don't have Custer moving on. That would be an immense L for Custer to take to not make the Final Four. He's very good at Homestead. I just remembered Cole Custer is very good at Homestead. He fucking annihilated them in 2017, and if he had gotten one more point at Phoenix, you know, the race before, and had made the Final Four versus Daniel Hemrick, Cole Custer would have been the 2017 Xfinity Series champion. Just a little factoid for you to roll around in the old noggin. Custer could very well win Homestead. I don't know how many bonus points he has going into these races. It'll be tight between him and Allgaier for the final spot, and Mayer for that matter. Josh Berry is utterly irrelevant. Bye, bitch. And then there's Parker Kligerman, who I'm not even sure if he's gonna make the fucking chase at all. You never fucking know. Anything can happen between now and fucking Phoenix. And fucking Bristol for that matter. Anyway, here's the Final Four. Now this is a good Final Four. Knowing my luck, it'll be Barry, Creed, fucking Jeb goddamn Burton somehow manages to back his way through every round in the chase. And fucking, I don't know, Sammy Smith. Sammy Smith figures out how to drive these cars again. That'll probably be the Final Four. This has been a good year for Xfinity. This has been the best year of Xfinity since, like, 2015. Like, I have thoroughly enjoyed this season of Xfinity. I have not said that in years, as a matter of fact. And the inversion happened. I talked about this all the way back when Daniel Hemrick won the championship in Xfinity. The inversion happened. Trucks used to be the best series and Xfinity the worst. Now Xfinity is the best series and Trucks is the worst. The inversion has happened. Ladies and goddamn gentlemen, I never thought I'd see the day. I never thought I'd see the day. Anyway, this is an incredibly based Final Four. Who do I have winning the championship? Well, Chandler should have won at Phoenix earlier this year, but he didn't. And the problem for Colleague is that AJ was never good at Phoenix. So they never really got a good read for the cards there. I hope that Busch taught them something. I hope that Chandler running well taught them something for this race. I don't know, man. I don't know. If they can figure out how to make a good car for this race, Chandler's got a chance. And he's got to make it there first, dude. He's got to make it there first before this can happen. And I mean, anything's possible, man. Anything's possible. But then you got to think that John Hunter Nemechek's the favorite. Gibbs is vastly overpowered, at Phoenix especially. They've always brought the best cars to Phoenix. I mean, and especially with John Hunter Nemechek, he has so much experience running at Phoenix especially. I think dude's been around for so goddamn long. He's ran so many races. This is his 9th full-time season in NASCAR this year, I think. But the problem for Nemechek is that he's a fucking choke artist. He's worse than Allgaier in this regard. Like, holy fuck. He's worse than Allgaier, man, in the choking department. Dude, just absolutely sold in 2021. I'm still fucking pissed about that, by the way. I will never not be pissed about that, because it was fucking steaming hot goddamn garbage. But yeah. Nemechek just needs to figure out how to fucking close. He can't close. He's never been able to close in his life, even when he was running for Nemco. The trucks were, always a step down, but he managed to dig inside and find that extra pace and get wins at random points in the season, because you just never make it work in the chase. And it's a shame. Nemechek is the favorite, absolutely. But then you have Austin Hill. Like I said earlier, Hill has come into his own this year. He's so fucking good. He's just the model of consistency. But the problem is that consistency doesn't win you championships. Being good at Phoenix gives you championships. And I don't think Austin Hill's ever won at Phoenix in any capacity. I don't know, man. He's never been relevant enough. He's never been really that good at Phoenix, if I remember correctly. He kind of struggled there in trucks. I don't know how he's done in Xfinity. Xfinity and trucks are completely, you know, different to drive, but like, you know, he's just... I don't think this is the year for Austin Hill. I don't think next year is either is the problem. The next year is the year for him to get 10 wins and still lose the championship for some reason. You know, I can see that happening. I can very well see that happening. But Hill's, I mean, he's never made the Final Four, man. I don't know. But this is his best opportunity to slay. And then there's the man. Justin Allgaier has done so much shit this year. I never mentioned this until now. I keep forgetting to mention this, but there was a dude at Indianapolis. We were in a fucking vintage diecast tent outside the track, just browsing. And this dude comes up to me, he's like, hey, you look like Kamikaze Games. And I was like, do I? Dude gave me a signed Justin Allgaier Panini card. Just like that. He had his girlfriend stop and he dug in her backpack and he was like, oh god, I gotta get this shit. And she's just standing there like, is this really happening? Is this really happening? I was just standing there like, is this really happening? I never got his name, but he commented on one of the videos, on a video, and I hearted the comment, so you should look back and like fucking props to that dude. Props to that dude for just giving me that. And I was like, that's some good shit. But you know what? If I made this video a week ago, I would have said that Allgaier has no chance to win this championship. But come on, dude. Come on, dude. He won Daytona. He won on a plate race. Dude was more cursed than Dale fucking Earnhardt at this point. And he finally won. If he could do that, he could do anything. It's a championship in the cards for Justin. Phoenix is his best track, but he was fucking irrelevant earlier this season there. Oh my god, dude. If he can get there. If he can get there, he has a shot. Especially against these two. Chandler is great, but I don't trust Colleague, and I don't trust him to even make the Final Four. Austin Hill, I still just don't think he's good at Phoenix. John Hunter Nemechek would be his only fucking competition, but Nemechek is so good, Gibbs is so fucking good. If it's this Final Four, I think it's a win regardless of what happens. But when it comes down to it, how can you bet against Nemechek? How can you bet against him? No matter how much of a goddamn choke artist that he's been his entire career, how can you bet against him in this scenario? He's in a Gibbs car at one of Gibbs' best tracks. And he's got so many bonus points going into the chase. Like, he could just coast his way through it, even if he doesn't win Texas, even if he doesn't win Martinsville, which, I mean, depending on who's in the 19. Hey, can you put your fucking Dover winner in there? Can we get a fucking another start for Ryan Truex? Have him dab on the field? No? Oh, alright. Oh, no. We're gonna put fucking Corey Heim in it next year? Oh, alright. Yeah, great. Fantastic. Thank you. That's wonderful. I have John Hunter Nemechek winning the championship in the Xfinity Series. Hey! We're still not done yet. We still got an entire series to cover. Yay! Oh. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. won the Daytona 500. Huh? And JTG hasn't even been that bad this year. They would not have made the chase on points. They were in the chase on points all season up until the end of Daytona, where they got murdered. I don't remember if it was the end of the race or if it was the Blaney wreck. But I don't fucking care. Stenhouse is in the chase again. Great, wonderful, spectacular. Will he ever be relevant any other time besides plate races? No. The answer is no. Denny Hamlin, the man who did nothing wrong. Bro did nothing wrong. Denny, I love Denny Hamlin. He's such a fucking prick. I identify that on so many levels. I identify with that. He is an absolute troll to the end. He's got 50 career wins. Are you fucking kidding me? Denny Hamlin has 50 career wins? What? I mean, it's Denny Hamlin. He'll probably make the Final Four and finish 4th in chase because he's Denny Hamlin. Kyle Larson. I still hate Kyle Larson, don't worry. He's been irrelevant for the majority of the season. He was decent at the start of the year. He got a bunch of wins that he shouldn't have gotten because he's Kyle Larson. Yeah, and once again, probably going to make the Final Four because fuck everything. Logano! Oh my god, Logano continues to go down the list of people that I hate, but don't worry, I cannot stand this motherfucker to this day. He got a garbage win in Atlanta, no one cared, to the scores of fucking no one. To resounding silence, he won Atlanta. Atlanta fucking sucks. What, they fucking murdered that track. Can't wait for it to get in the chase. They're definitely putting Atlanta in the chase at some point. Don't you worry about that. Yeah, Logano's been terrible this year by his standards. Penske as a whole has struggled, which Lamau, but, you know, at the same time, poor Blaney. Yeah, Logano should not have a win this year, but knowing Logano, he will fucking walk to the Final Four, because that's what he does. And he'll win another championship after doing fuck all season. That's the Logano way. Christopher Bell. He looked very good at the start of the season. Got that win in the Bristol Dirt Race, which it still exists, unfortunately. He's kind of plateaued over the past couple of months. He was the favorite to win New Hampshire and sold. He sold very hard at New Hampshire. It was kind of funny, but also sad at the same time. Ever since New Hampshire, he really hasn't been the same. He was really good at the Chicago street course. I remember that. That's the only thing that I've remembered about Bell this season, besides his win at Bristol. He has been incredibly irrelevant, but he's in a Gibbs car, so he could very well get to the Final Four. Truex, he's back. We back. We are so back for the Truex good shit happening. Truex has been killing it this year. He got the, first 26 races. Shit. I will never call it the playoffs. He was the points leader after the first 26 races of the season. This is apparently an accomplishment these days. So he's got a shit ton of bonus points. He's been in prime, maybe not 2017 form, but he's been in solid 2019 form. He's been leading a lot of laps in a lot of races. He's been relevant. He was good at Indianapolis. I remember watching the auto owner's car drive past turn 1 for basically the entire IMS race and being like, damn it, why can't you be higher? But at least he was making passes, and he was fighting Shane Van Gisbergen the entire time, that entire race, and I'm like, damn, taking it to that ass, Truex. Good shit. Good shit. Good shit. Speaking of good shit, Ryan Blaney. Are we sure he's not concussed? I don't know. We'll find out Monday, I guess. Blaney has been the best Penske driver this year because, he is the best Penske driver. Basically, we all knew this. We all knew this already. That was a thing that everyone knew. That everyone already knew. And he should not have won the Coke 600, another race that Truex should have won, but Truex, got loose from fucking stupid-ass Chastain, I'm pretty sure it was. But at least Blaney got the win. Good for him. It was way better than Logano's win. Way more deserving, that's for sure. Yeah, Blaney is in true Blaney form. He will probably be He will probably be the best finishing Penske driver for the first 3 races, but I don't know what else to say on that. And then the man, the myth, the legend. Ladies and gentlemen, can I just say, Michael McDowell ran, 487 races over the course of his career? I had a 0.5% chance of attending one of Michael McDowell's Cup wins. The percent chance of that was less than 1%. Bernie Sanders is just absolutely beside himself at the sheer level of less than 1%. Michael McDowell won. I got to see it in person. That was fucking amazing. I love McDowell so much. I hope he has a Truex level career resurgence. That would be amazing. Michael McDowell, 7-win season win. Please, come on Front Row Motorsports. I know you can do it. Yeah, man. Anyway, McDowell's awesome, but will he make the next round? No. Then you have William Byron, the only Hendrick driver that I like, and still, he's a Hendrick driver, which means that whenever he wins, it's not a good day. But at least, he's cute. 5 wins on the season, I think. A terrible Watkins Glen race. A rain-shortened Atlanta race. He's won a lot of garbage bag races this season. But hey, William Byron's cute, so he gets a pass. He's coming to his own this season. This was the year that I thought he'd have last season when Rudy Fugle joined the fucking, box. But, Fugle was the best crew chief in the truck series for a decade. It took him a little while to get acclimated to the Cup Series, and now he's, delivering race-winning cars on a weekly basis. So. Yeah. Good for him. Good for him. Kyle Busch. What can you say that hasn't been said about Kyle Busch? He sure exists. He had a couple of incredible wins this season. Incredible for different reasons. Going into Fontana, winning probably the final race ever at that track, and doing it in dominating fashion, dabbing on the Elliott fans. The best way to fucking do it. The best possible Kyle Busch win is with Elliott in second. And then he went into Gateway, and didn't really dominate, but he started on the pole, I think, fought back to the front, and won. 2 very different styles of racetrack, but the problem for Busch is that RCR has a lot of raw speed, but, they are lacking in the durability department. He was fast at Indianapolis. I remember he was closing in on the battle for lead, and then suddenly he was gone and several laps down. He's been very inconsistent this season. That's Busch's problem, is inconsistency. One race, he's dominating, leading all the laps. The next, he's struggling to get into the top 10. It's a shame, really. I bet Kyle Busch next season, once RCR figures out their durability problem, Busch is going to look like his 2018 self again. I predicted Kyle Busch. How many wins did I say Kyle Busch would get at the start? 5? He could still do that. I actually think that I think the most that I predicted Kyle Busch winning was 8 wins. But that was a bit facetious. He could still do it though. That's the thing. Oh my god, Kris Buescher. He's a 4-time winner now. 3 times this season. Bunch of shit races too. Should not have won Michigan. And make an argument for Daytona. But a good win at Richmond for him. That was a good race for him to get in there and fucking do it. The fucking turnaround, though. When you talk about turnarounds, Kris Buescher is at the top of the list. What the fuck? How did that happen? But you see, the thing is, Kris Buescher's always low-key been amazing. He's just never had the car to do it. And now that he's got a car that isn't a piece of shit, he's doing it. He's doing it! No, he has 5 career wins, because he won last year. 5 career wins! More than this cunt! Kris Buescher has done a great job this season. There's nothing else to say. We watched him, I mentioned earlier 2015 Xfinity, we watched him kick Chase Elliott's ass week in and week out. Way to fucking dab on them even harder, Kris. Getting the win here at Daytona, that just preventing Elliott from making the chase. Pure comedy. Good shit, Kris. Good shit. Ah, fuck you. Ross Chastain. Ross Chastain. You know what? This motherfucker got one good race this season. One singular good race, just like Logano. Just like Logano. But don't worry. They jack him off every single week like he's been relevant for all those races when he's not. When he's not been. When he's done jack shit all fucking season, and even Bubba Wallace looks better than him a lot of times. Ross Chastain. He led the points for a while earlier in the season, and he's kind of flatlined lately. He should not have won Nashville. That should have been Truex win. But the package is shit at Nashville, or maybe it's just Nashville that's shit. Very well could just be Nashville that's shit. It's very possible. Chastain has been good this season, if not spectacular. He's been kind of relevant. He was really relevant at the start of the season. Now he's only barely relevant. It might be a struggle for him in the chase to get through the rounds, but, you know, he's done it before, like a cunt. and he's several races ahead of Daniel Suarez, who should not be in the 99 next year. SVG should be in that car next year, but he won't be. Good job, Chastain, for existing. Harvick did not win tonight. Hallelujah. Harvick has not won yet. And it feels good. It feels damn good. I enjoy that very much. SHR has been a total joke of an organization this year. Total clown show. You want to dunk on Ferrari for being shit? Look no further than Stewart-Haas Racing. Putting a whole one car in the top 20 in points. Coming into the chase. Fantastic stuff. Yeah, Harvick exists. Speaking of existing, Bubba Wallace. He's had like 2 good races this season, otherwise has just existed. He still can't run road courses to save his life, but he has made the chase, and that's really all that matters in the grand scheme of this sport. He did it on points, which means a little bit more than doing it on a win. Good for Bubba. I doubt he's going to do anything in this chase. Then you have Brad Keselowski, who wish he won. I wish he won a couple of hours ago, but didn't. He did not win. Very sad indeed. But he's got a bunch of good tracks coming up. Talladega's in the chase. You know, it could happen. It could very well happen. Oh my god, we're 45 minutes into this recording, and I know that I had a half an hour of truck stuff from back in July. This is going to be the longest chase prediction video of all time. Alright! An hour and 15 minutes into this video. Who's moving on in the first round? Let's find out together. I have Hamlin winning Darlington. Can you believe that? I have Truex winning Kansas because he, I think, was fast there earlier this year. He needs to break through and get a win on a 1.5 mile track. You can only be good at every other fucking venue for so long. You need to get a win in a 1.5 mile. And Kansas has been a good track to Truex, you know, after 2016. So, yeah. And then I have Brad Keselowski winning Bristol. You cannot underestimate the RFK short track program. Keselowski should have won this race last year. No excuses why he should not have won that race last year. I want Keselowski to win in the 6 so bad. I wanted him to do it in the King's Hawaiian car too, for that matter, but I hope he's got like a blue car for this race, because a blue number 6 in victory lane would probably bring me to tears. I have Bell moving on. Who do I not have moving on? That's more relevant. Stenhouse, because, you know, I don't have McDowell moving on. I think he has a top 10 at Darlington, but Kansas and Bristol are going to be brutal on him. I would fucking love to see Michael McDowell move on in the chase, but it's not happening. I've got you not moving on because he's done fuck all since Circuit of the Americas. And, yeah. I have, wait. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3. Who's not moving on here? Oh, I don't have Logano moving on. I don't have Logano moving on because Penske's just been mid this year. Blaney's been carrying the organization. Cindric's running at, his ceiling. And Logano's just kind of been a 12th place car everywhere this year. He had a race-winning car at Darlington, I guess, but he's going to be irrelevant at Kansas. And I mean, Bristol is Bristol. Anything can happen there. But, Logano's just been not doing it this year. I think he's not moving on. And 2022 was a fluke, and so was 2018. Texas, Talladega, and Charlotte Roval. Wow, what a bunch of shit tracks. Holy fuck. What a contrast to the second round of the Xfinity Chase. Jesus. Texas, Talladega, and Charlotte. Wow. Horrible. Who do I got moving on? That's the real question. Who do we have moving on? I have Kyle Busch winning Texas. I feel like that's something that could very well happen. Texas seems like the kind of track that Busch would win on. And, the tires magically stopped blowing last season when the 8 car got to the lead last year. So you know what? That's probably going to happen again this year. Texas fucking sucks. It's a terrible track. Burn it to the ground. Then you got Talladega. Talladega. I have Blaney winning there because winning at Talladega in the Chase is kind of Blaney's thing. Winning at Talladega is kind of Blaney's thing, period. He's basically, the next Brad Keselowski. He'll use lessons learned from Keselowski. Yeah. As long as he doesn't get wrecked, Blaney could probably do it. You see, I do not have anyone winning the Charlotte Roval. Did you know that AJ Allmendinger is undefeated in the Xfinity Series at the Roval? Did you know that? Undefeated. In multiple different kinds of conditions. When he had to start at the back, he dabbed on him in the rain. AJ's just owned this track in the Xfinity Series, and I think that he can translate that success into the Cup car, and I think that AJ Allmendinger could win the Charlotte Roval. Beyond that, what else do we have? I have Larson moving on because Hendrick. I have Byron moving on because he has a shit ton of bonus points. I have Truex moving on because he has a shit ton of bonus points. It's kind of a rough round for him. He always gets fucked over at Texas. He's never been good at plate racing. And the Roval has been a bit of a curse to him as well. Even though he could very fucking well win the Roval. If he, could qualify to save his fucking life. Yeah. Oh. I have Reddick moving on, despite him not making this round. Let me just... Yeah. Hamlin will move on. That's all I'm going to say on that. He could very well win Talladega. I have Pehl moving on because I forgot to put him on the list, and he is a former winner at the Roval, I think. Probably. Yeah. Yeah, I think he is. And I also have Kris Buescher moving on. This has been the year of the Buescher. Well, I mean, it's kind of been the, month and a half of the Buescher. Not so much the year, but the month and a half. He's, climbed the standings, too. He got, what was it, 6th? Holy shit. Yeah. Buescher is coming into his own this year. And like I said earlier, he is untouchable at some of these tracks this year. He's been cooking. Man, they've been cooking at RFK. I don't have Keselowski moving on, even though he could win Talladega. He'll probably blow a tire at Texas and, Charlotte. He's just never been really that good of a road course racer. He was good at Watkins Glen for a few years, but then not really anywhere else. Who else do I have not moving on? Chastain, like I said, he kind of plateaued at Nashville and has been flatlining ever since. I do not have Bubba moving on because he's, like I said earlier, he's just existed. I don't have Harvick moving on because SHR has been a joke this year. And all that good stuff. Hey, look, it's Vegas Homestead Martinsville again. Nice. Who do I have moving on? This is who I have moving on. I have Byron winning Vegas because it's been too long since the last Byron win. Pretty much. I have Truex winning Homestead in redemption for last season. You know, now this is what everyone's going to be drawing their attention to. Kris Buescher. Do not underestimate the RFK short track program. Do not underestimate it. You want to know why? Because Kris Buescher had one finish better than 15th at Richmond before going into it and winning this year. And he got the win at Bristol last year, and Keselowski should have gotten the win at Bristol last year, and Keselowski was also fast at Richmond this year. The RFK short track program cannot be underestimated, which is why I have Kris Buescher making his first ever Final Four appearance. And that's just the way it is. I have Larson moving on via points as well, because, you know, I think the one with the most points would be Busch. But like I said, his reliability issues are going to come into full focus during this chase, and I think this round especially. Vegas is hard on the equipment, even though it's his home track. Homestead is a wild card. I don't really know about that, and Busch hasn't been good for a while at Martinsville. He's not had race-winning pace at Martinsville for a few years, and combine that with the mediocrity of the RCR short track program, you kind of get the whole thing there. But, you know, RCR is fast, got raw speed, could qualify well at Vegas and Homestead. He could get some stage points or whatever. I don't know, man. I do not have Bell moving on. I probably shouldn't have him going this far in the chase to begin with, but you know, he put the sport on his back last season, getting through all the rounds of the chase in must-win situations. So, you know what? He fucking could very well do the same thing again. Who fucking knows? I also have Blaney not moving on. Once again, Penske hasn't had the juice this year. Unfortunate for Blaney, but a Lamau for the rest of the Penske team. Okay! An hour and a half into this video. We have finally made it to the Final Four at Phoenix. Oh my goodness, what a Final Four this would be. So, Byron. He won at Phoenix earlier this season. He should not have won at Phoenix earlier this season. But if it comes down to it on a late race restart, you can never count out Byron. He could very well be in contention for his first ever Cup championship. Now, I've been saying it ever since he made it into the Truck Series that, like, it would be very interesting if Byron won the championship and then NASCAR shut down, and then NASCAR would bookend their series with the first championship by a Byron and their final championship by a Byron. That's the kind of storybook type shit that I've kind of sunk into superstition when it comes to racing. But I have a lot of insane racing theories that actually hold a minimal amount of water, you know. Water. It is 12:19 in the morning, and F1 starts in less than 6.5 hours. I should really be going to sleep if I want to watch that. Byron, never count him out. This has been a breakout season for him, but it would be his first Final Four appearance in the Cup Series. Lots of pressure there, but Rudy Fuel will keep him in check. He's got a very good shot at this championship. Truex. It's Truex. Martin Truex Jr. is back in the Final Four again. He used to suck ass at Phoenix. Then he won at Phoenix, which I'm still not sure how that happened. He has been a force to be reckoned with this year. Head and shoulders the best Gibbs car. Even though Hamlin's been relevant, you know, a lot of the season. Truex has been the one to have the race-winning speed every race, week in and week out, and at every single track type. He's got a road course win this year. He's got a flat track win this year. He's got, what was his other win? Uh-oh, I don't even remember his other win. New Hampshire. Fucking Dover, he won. Also won at Dover. And he's good everywhere. This season especially. It's been a good turnaround for him. But can he finally get a fucking win at Phoenix that matters? Doubt it. Then you got Kris Buescher. I mean, what can you say that hasn't been said about Kris Buescher? 3 wins in the last, what, 5 races? He's won at every oval since fucking June. Dude's on a goddamn streak. It's something to say the least. Buescher is not one to be messed with. He is one of the most low-key drivers in the sport. Being as low-key as he is got him the championship in 2015. Being just low-key could maybe get him into the Final Four on that alone. But then the question becomes, can RFK elevate their program, be the only Ford in the Final Four here, be probably the only Ford to advance past round 1 in this fucking chase? In a year that Ford has struggled massively, Kris Buescher and Keselowski too, they have absolutely ignited a fire underneath this team, and Roush is looking like they were back in 2008, putting winning cars on track, week in and week out. It's just nothing that I thought I'd ever see again. I made the Roush Fenway Racing is Dead video back in like 2014, and like only now has that changed. Should look back on that video, just see what the fuck I said in that. But like, I mean, it's amazing what you do when you finally kick Stenhouse off the fucking team. It's like amazing, wow, you put a good driver in these cars and they're fucking doing good. What a shock. What a shock. But Buescher was very low-key in his Xfinity Win championship. I mean, he has to fucking do good in this race in order to win the championship. That's his biggest problem. If he could just point his way to the fucking championship, he could maybe do it. Because he's a smart driver. He doesn't take big risks on the track. He brings the car to the finish in one piece. And that alone gives him an extra 5 or 6 spots every race. Kris Buescher is probably one of the smartest drivers on the track. Like, this video has just been the jacking off Kris Buescher video. And like, all 3 of his wins have pissed me off in some capacity. Because both Richmond and Michigan should have been won by Truex, and then you have Daytona where, like, I don't know, Eric could have won. Have you considered Eric Jones winning? No, you have not considered Eric Jones winning. And it shows. And it fucking shows. And I have Larson making the Final Four, because that's kind of what he does best. He just exists in the Cup Series. And he'll probably win another championship off that. Fucking whatever. All that being said, who's going to be the champion? 2 Hendrick cars means the resources are going to be split. Hendrick comes into this Final Four at a disadvantage just because they have 2 cars that they need to prepare for this race. Whilst Gibbs and RFK can focus on one entry and making it perfect. And the problem for Buescher, Phoenix has not been a great track for Roush. I don't think for Buescher personally either. Keselowski's never been good there. He brings nothing to the table for Phoenix. And Buescher's just here on sheer willpower alone, so. But then Larson, he's been pretty irrelevant these past couple of months. But then again, he could very well win any of these races, or all of these races, and just win another fucking championship. It could happen. It could happen. But if you ask me, I think it's between these 2. Byron's broke out this year. He looks like a champion. He's got the championship crew chief. He's got the championship team. And half of Hendrick didn't even make the chase. Lamau, by the way, they're still going to put half their cars into the Final Four, I think. I do think that. I do genuinely think this is the Final Four right here. Maybe exchange Larson and, like, Hamlin. But, like, Hamlin ain't winning the championship, that's for sure. Byron has a win at Phoenix, but so does Truex. But Truex had a much more impressive Phoenix win. And you want to know something? I said something about superstition earlier. And one of my biggest superstitions is pity. It's pity points. In 2015, Jimmie Johnson was knocked out of the first round of the chase. In 2016, he won the championship. 2017, Logano was mid all year. And then in 2018, NASCAR decided to throw a caution for no reason and hand him a championship. There's something about drivers being mid in one season and then amazing the next. Truex should have been in the chase last year. He could have very well pointed his way into the Final Four. He very well could have won Darlington. Very well could have won Homestead. Dude was cooking. But this year, he didn't make the championship. He didn't make the fucking chase. But this year something's changed. And suddenly, he's back to being a championship contender. He's back to being in contention for wins every single race, regardless of the track type. He is clicking off laps led, clicking off top 10s, and clicking off potential victories. But he didn't make the chase last year. But you know what? I have made championship, the chase grid predictions video 10 times. 10 seasons of making championship predictions. And out of those 10 seasons, you know what? Half of them, I've predicted a Truex championship. I think he's got it. Who else besides Buescher? Who else has been relevant everywhere on all track types? Who else has had the magic touch? I think Truex is winning the championship. For what should be his 4th championship, by the way. Dude shedded the dead weight at the start of the season. And he rolled into the Clash at the fucking LA Coliseum, which exists for some reason. And he just dabbed on him. He has a pure short track win. He has a Dover win, which, depending on who you ask, is an intermediate or a short track win. He's got a road course win, and he's got a flat track win. He's won at so many different track types this year. He should have won Michigan. He should have won Nashville. Probably should have won another race in there somewhere. But another thing. The guy leading the points going into the final, going into race 20 or 27. Yeah, the guy ever since 2017 in odd numbered years has gone on to win the championship. Truex in 2017, Busch in 2019, Larson in 2021, it's Truex in 2023. And if you factor that superstition into the pity points superstition of him missing the chase next year by bullshit reasons and coming back this year to being as strong as he is, Martin Truex Jr. is winning this championship. It's happening. It's happening. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching this video. Like I said, this is one of my favorite videos to make every season. But you know how it goes, man. You know how it goes. I've predicted another Truex championship. Wow. Can you believe that Kamikaze Games has predicted a Truex championship? Wild. Anyway, it is midnight, and I'm still not tired. That's fucked up. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you in whatever comes next. Have a good night. Thanks for watching. Bye.